Hi guys, welcome to YouTube channel TechBird, and today we have come with one more topic, that is SQL query optimization technique. What is SQL Server query optimization? What technique we can use? So first we have to understand what is SQL query optimization. So you would have seen like when you develop the query to get your data sometimes or update your data, you perform operation with your data with the help of query, SQL query. So sometimes your query takes a lot of time to execute. It is very irritating that you are sitting and query not returning result quickly. So you become very bored and you are curious to know the result. So we need to improve the query return time. Query should perform faster. So that is the query optimization. We have to make our query run faster, run without any issue like slow. It should be faster. Results should come faster. And what technique we can use while developing the query? So let's move on to this topic. So first, SQL Server means SQL structured query language. Performs tuning can be an incredibly challenging task, especially when working with large scale data, where even the smallest change can have a dramatic performance effect, positively or negatively. In order to get the exact data we are looking for, we need to provide the appropriate query. So in this blog post, we are going to discuss the top 10 SQL query optimization techniques to get precise data from the database. So first, define the requirements. Frame the optimal requirements before starting to write the query. This will help refine the query to avoid fetching unwanted data from the table. Second, select field rather than using select asterisk. Use select statement optimally. Instead of always fetching all the data from table, fetch only the necessary data from the table, thereby avoiding the cost of transferring unwanted data and processing it. Inefficient. Select asterisk from business. It is inefficient. What will be the efficient way? Select name, phone, address, company zip from business. So this query is much simpler and only pulls the required details from the tables. Required details mean required columns. Why to fetch unnecessary column? Only to fetch the relevant columns that we are going to use ahead. Third one is avoid distinct in select query. Select distinct is a simple way of removing duplicates from database. Select distinct works to generate a distinct outcome by using group by clause, which groups all the fields in the query. However, a large amount of processing power is required to do so. So avoid distinct and select queries. Inefficient if you use like a select distinct first name, last name, country from customer. So it is inefficient. So multiple people in the same country might have the same first and last name. Okay. So what will be the efficient way? Efficient way is select ID, first name, last name, country, state, city, zip from customer. Unduplicated records are written without the using select distinct by adding more columns. Fourth one is indexing. So indexing in SQL Server helps retrieve data more quickly from a table, thereby giving a tremendous boost to SQL query performance. Allow effective use of clustered and non-clustered indexes. Understand the query's intent and choose the right form for your scenarios. Use a covering index to reduce the time needed for the execution of commonly used statements. Indexes occupy disk space. The more indexes you have, the greater the space used on the disk. In SQL Server, clustered index requires no additional disk space, but any non-clustered index needs additional disk space as it is stored separately from the list. Fifth one is to check the existence of records. Use exist rather than count. So both exist and count methods can be used to check the existence of a record entry in the table. So the existent method is more effective as it exits processing as soon as it finds the first entry of the record in the table. The count method would scan the entire table to return the number of records in the table that match the provided constraint. And efficient if we use like if select count id from business where name like abc percent greater than 0. So print yes. And efficient. And what will be the efficient? If exist, select ID name from business where name like ABC percent. So print yes. Limit your working data set size. The less data retrieved, the faster the query will run. Instead of adding too many client-side filters, filter the data at the server as much as possible. This limits the data sent to the wire, and you will be able to see the result much more quickly. 7. Use where instead of having. So having clause filters the rows after all the rows are selected. It works like a filter. Do not apply the having clause for any other purpose. Having statements are determined SQL operating order after where statements. Therefore, it is quicker to execute the where query. So in efficient example, select ID, company name, created date from business. Join company on company ID. Group by company ID, company name, created date. Having created date between 1/1/20 to 31/12/2020. What will be the efficient way? Select ID, company name, created date from business, join company on the basis of company ID, where created date of company between this one. So group by company name and created date. Ignore linked subqueries. A linked subquery depends on the query from the parent or from the external source. It runs row by row. So the average cycle speed is greatly affected. And efficient, if we select name, phone, address from B, zip, select company name from company where ID equals to company ID as company name from business B. For each row written by the external query, the inner query is run every time. Alternatively, join can be used to solve these problems for SQL database optimization. Efficient use will be select name, phone, address, zip, company name from business, join company on the basis of company ID. Now use of temp table. This is yet another issue that is very difficult to solve. In many cases, we use temp table to stop double dipping into large tables. A temp table can also be used to significantly reduce the mandatory computing power when dealing with large volume of data. When linking data from table to a large table, add a large subset to reduce the efficient hindrance. So don't run queries in a loop. Coding SQL queries in loops slows the entire sequence. Instead of writing question and running it in a loop, bulk insert and updates can be used depending on the situation. Inefficient usually for int i equals to 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, query insert into business xyz values, print a new record has been inserted. So what will this is the inefficient way. So what will be the efficient way? Insert into business values. So you would have seen 10 example. Let's recap it. What are those 10 techniques? Define the requirement. First thing is. Second one, select field rather than select asterisk. Third one, avoid distinct in select a query. Fourth one, use indexing. Fifth, check the existence of records. Use exist rather than count. Six, limit your working data set size. 7. Use where instead of having. 8. Ignore linked subqueries. Instead use join. 9. Use of temp table. Must use temp table wherever it is required. 10. Don't use run queries in loop. So these are the 10 techniques for query optimization. I hope you will like the video. So we will coming up with more videos like this. Till then, goodbye. Bye bye.